Sakina, thank you very, very much. And again, if viewers have just tuned in, you're not too late. There's still lots to come from this 2023 edition of the Africa Travel Indaba. And I'll tell you what, it's really lovely. Albeit a bit quiet this morning. I'm not sure where everyone is, but I did hear there were a couple of parties happening until late last night. And that is the tourism sector. So I don't think you can expect anybody to be arising very early, but I think it all starts at around about 9 o'clock. So everyone's slowly strolling in, and then the atmosphere will grow and grow and grow. But I'm so happy to have with us here to have a conversation who's just arrived at the venue this morning. She was here till late, and this morning walking, Minister de Lille.
Yes, it was a lovely walk.
Was it nice?
I tell you, I'm so jealous about the weather in Durban. I wish I could stay and walk every morning.
It's not fair, is it? I mean, you come here and it's just magnificent. So where were you doing this? So I know that this was part of the tourism.
On the beachfront, past all of the hotels.
Beautiful.
Yes, yes.
And it was a good turnout. Everybody was ready to enjoy this Indaba.
I was surprised. Everybody was there also this morning. But there's nothing, Leanne, that can replace that face-to-face interaction.
Yeah.
I think this is what people enjoying this year. You could see last night on the floor when they were just having drinks and chatting.
That's what this industry is about.
Exactly.
You can't do it over Zoom and from far. You can't.
Yes. So we had a very good turnout. We've got over 6,000 delegates. We've got more than 1,000 buyers that came from all over the world. We got more than 1,000 expo stands and all of that. And the products from Africa, you must go and have a look.
Yeah.
We've got about 28 African tourism ministers that are here. And the products just in the continent. And I am so grateful for the continent. Because in 2022, we received 5.7 million visitors to our shores. 4 million came from Africa.
Amazing.
And so we must really change our strategy into that untapped potential. We need to sort out the visa question.
Yes.
People are still complaining about it. We need to sort out the air access because, the flights in Africa, we need a lot more flights for people to move. But the ministers that were here, we all have the same issues. And so we are now going to work together. And tackling issues one by one, just so that we can grow the numbers. But East Africa has already surpassed and exceeded pre-2019 COVID levels, so we need to learn from them.
Yeah, and the reality is that there is a lot of potential on this continent.
Yes.
I mean, there is so much that needs to be done. And one thing I liked what you did say is that enough talk, because we've been talking for too long.
Oh, yes.
We need to implement this e-visa. The whole issue of the travel route is a major problem. And traveling within the continent is something that needs to be easier. It is too difficult to travel within our own continent. Now, that doesn't make sense. So what is the consensus amongst the ministers that are here that can be done to make this all easier?
Most of the African ministers are really saying that SAA, the vacuum of SAA, that was had regional flights across the continent. If we can get more SAA flights, but airlines like Ethiopian Airlines, they're increasing their fleet. Eswatini is now having a flight between Eswatini and Durban. And then also one from Zimbabwe to Durban. So it's slowly getting there, but it's too fragmented, There's not one strategy that pull all of us together to improve the air access.
Fragmented and expensive.
And the marketing is so fragmented.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Yes, we need to have competition amongst the African countries, but we need to collaborate so that we can promote brand continent, brand Africa. That's where we are weak a bit.
Yeah,
yes.
Because this is, and I said this in the opening, I mean, it's far to get here. It doesn't matter what way you look at it. To get to Africa, we're at South Africa, the bottom of the continent. And, there are other African countries that really stepped up to the plate. We lost a lot of the market share, whether we like to believe it or not.
Yes.
We did. And I'm going to get to
Yeah.
to our role in South Africa. I want to wrap up our Africa conversation. And I mean, your likes of Kenya, your likes of Ethiopia, all of these places. Sorry, not Ethiopia. Well, Ethiopia Airlines is doing unbelievably well.
Extremely well, yes.
Exceptionally well. And we lost a lot of that market share, especially with SAA not doing very well. No, it's a lot of noise. Yeah. I'm talking through the noise. So it sounds like tourism has woken up a bit. But in terms of getting this going again, how are we creating packages and things that we can, as a continent, work together?
You know, let me start with domestic tourism. Yesterday I announced that between the 4th and the 10th of September, we are appealing to local companies to give 50% discount packages.
Yes.
And in return for that, what we will do is that we will market all their establishments. And already many businesses responded to that. So I want to encourage South Africans to buy those packages. They can use it whenever they have time. But the opportunity with domestic, yes, we've got airlines, but you know, sometimes you can just travel. We are neglecting the small dorpies and the villages. And I think we need to spend more time visiting those areas also.
We really do. We really, really do. Minister, I hope the noise isn't bugging you.
Yeah.
We can hear you perfectly, just so you know. You know, one of the issues that came up, and I want to talk local now, because there's obviously been, you came into this position. It has been, you've come in wielding an axe. You have. You've instituted a lot of new positions into the board, a new CEO, new chairman. Last night you were accused of nepotism and a call to get rid of some of them. You laugh, but this is how they're feeling right now. Give me your response to the accusations of nepotism, purely because the appointments that you're making, I mean, just Tim Harris, for one example, as the acting chair, comes from Westgrove, Western Cape, your home province. Talk to me about this.
Yeah, we tend to focus on the side issues. What we do need to do all together, including Parliament, is that we need to lift the profile of tourism and the value that it's adding to our economy and the jobs that it can create. So yes, those issues will be there, but it's not really bothering me, because I must remain focused, because we have got targets that we need to meet. Today I will be releasing the first quarter stats from Stats SA, and it shows some improvement, but we still have got a long way to go. So yes, Leanne, those things will always be there, but I remain focused on the task at hand. The President gave me 4 priorities. I'm reporting on a monthly basis. That is who I'm first of all accountable to as a member of the executive. Parliament has got oversight over the executive, and we've got the separation of powers between the executive and Parliament and the judiciary. So we also have to respect that. But I'm used to it.
You're used to it, but did you consult before you actually made these appointments? Did you consult widely? Was this your own decision? Did you actually sort of go out and find and say, well, this is who I want to take over as chairperson, as CEO? I mean, the likes of billionaire businessman Vincent Mtambo. These decisions, how do you come to them?
Where you get deployed, it's the prerogative and the decision of the President. I've always been prepared to serve my country in any capacity, because we cannot operate in silos with government. Tourism is linked to home affairs, is linked to transport, so linked to international relations. But at least my performance in the last department, I left the department with a 91% performance. So I know that the President did ask me to come do tourism because of my performance that side. And to me really is that, you know, after almost 30 years of our new democracy, Leanne, we mustn't test the patience of our people too much.
Yeah.
We need to begin to listen, and we need to begin to illustrate. And here in tourism, there are a lot of low-hanging fruits. Let's start with that. But we need to get our partnership with the private sector right. Government must create the conditions conducive for the private sector to create jobs. And there's also a bit of trust deficit there that I'm working on. And if I can get that partnership together, I can tell you, Leanne, we will make faster, better progress much, much sooner.
Yeah. So just on a final closing note for calling for Harris to go, for Mtambo to
Yes.
go, for your side, they're not going anywhere. For now, they are acting in their capacity and they're staying there.
Ooh.
The two, well, Tim Harris, firstly,
Oh.
and Vincent Mtambo. Oh, thank goodness the music's gone. Now you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, those two appointments, because those are the ones that are questionable right now. Portfolio
Yes.
Committee, the chairperson, they are saying they must go. From your
You know,
side?
if I've done anything illegal outside of the law, people are free to take me to court. They're going nowhere, slowly, nowhere. Because I had senior counsel appointed by the state attorney to advise me. I have followed the law to the letter. I have gazetted the names. I've gazetted the solution of the previous board. I've already advertised for a new board on the 23rd of April. And so these processes will unfold and we will follow due process all the time. There's so much to be done. So anybody must tell me I've broken the law. But anything other than that, to me, it's neither here nor there.
Yeah, all right.
Yes.
So that's I know that the positions are advertised, the nominations for a new board are out.
Yes,
6th of
definitely.
June, until then, they are staying. That's just the way it is.
They are staying. If
Okay.
I've done anything illegal, I challenge anybody with any information to say she's acted against the law, it's unconstitutional, it's unlawful, and then we'll deal with it.
Yeah.
But we cannot have different interpretations of the law. I am implementing the Tourism Act, and that act was passed by Parliament. So give me the relevant act or clause that I have violated and we can deal with it. But I mean, we can't continue to be sniping from the sidelines without any evidence. Yes.
Minister, final question to you. I know that you've had a chance to speak to a lot of the role players in tourism. We're sitting on the brink of a catastrophe when it comes to load shedding. It's
Yes.
costing the industry. A lot of the tourism players here have two major concerns. One of them is the electricity, and the other
Yes.
one is a trust deficit in the ministry, the board, all of the things that have been
Yes.
happening behind the scenes in tourism. Perhaps you want to address those two. One is about the trust deficit
Yeah.
in the ministry and
Yes.
the SA Tourism Board, and
Yeah.
also with regard to the concerns around load shedding, what can these service operators do?
You know, when I arrived in this portfolio, I thought maybe the president see me as a broom, like I had to go and clean up in the previous one. This broom is also going to sweep out all the things that is not supposed to be there, and I'm happy that they are surfacing right now. But we have to remain focused on what we have to do. Those things are normal. They happen, and we need to deal with them. And we acknowledge that they might have an impact, but the organizations are running. The second point is that the trust deficit between the private sector and the public sector is because over the past 2 years, there's been very little interaction with the private sector. I started the ground running, and I said to them, come join me in the run. Let's run together. And we had several meetings already with them. And surprised, Leanne, that everybody wants to work together. So I'm just now creating those conditions for us to work together with the private sector. And already there are some results that we can show you that we have achieved by just talking to each other. And I'm committed to that. Yeah.
Minister, I am going to leave it there. I'm so sorry that the sound kind
Yes,
of killed it
not
a
a
little
problem.
bit. But I think we got a lot of points across here. We'll have to leave other issues for a later date. But Minister,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
luck.
you for the opportunity, and thank you to Morning Live for being here.
It's always a
We need
pleasure.
all South Africans to promote our beautiful country.
And we hope
thank
to
you.
promote
Thank you
it.
very much.
We hope to promote it a lot more
Thank you.
as we keep going and bringing these beautiful sights and sounds of South Africa into your house. It's something we've done for many, many years, and I hope we
Yes.
continue to do that in partnership with the Department of Tourism here in South Africa.